Darius, just obviously just the play in which you just made an impact on this game tonight, just kind of what was feeding into that?
For me, it started in practice for me. I was working really hard all week, playing fast, playing physical, and trying to get myself going. I also owe it to Coach Kendall, Coach Frank Oakman, my D-line brothers. You know, we compete with ourselves within our room, and our coaches try for me to get better every day and lead as well, so that's what I try to do tonight.
When you have that much of an impact on a game, just how do you describe that feeling?
I don't know how to describe it. I really can't tell you, but I just enjoyed playing out there with my brothers tonight, and we came out with the dub.
How big of an impact do you think the secondary had on the defensive line today, just kind of not giving Gabbert any room to throw, really, and taking time, and then you guys kind of collapsing in the back?
I give all the credit to the DBs, you feel me? This is something they've been doing since week one, and they've been holding their own, and I appreciate them very much because they help us just as much as we help them, and we just keep going and keep competing.
What about your matchup were you able to like dominate so well?
Just being physical and being dominant. That's just what I wanted to do in this game, and what I want to carry over as a player and what I want for myself. So that's what I was trying to do.
How much do you think you guys wear down opposing offensive lines? I mean, all 5 games so far, you've obviously made a huge impact, and you're able to rotate guys where O-lines can't do that as much. Like, what particularly in the second half, how difficult do you think it is for the opponents?
I think it's very difficult, especially when we got our D-line coach just stressing us to keep going, and not for us to get tired. Even though he got people coming in for us, still try and stay with full energy and explosiveness and just keep going.
In terms of setting the tone in this game, you guys obviously checked that box off in the first half. Just how did that kind of fuel you guys for the rest of the game?
That fueled us all the way. That's what we try to do every game, set the tone in the first half, really the first quarter. If we could do it in the first quarter, we get ourselves going.
Speaking of tone setting, that first 3rd and 1, you and Golan just go in there and blow up that play. What did that kind of say for how this day was going to go?
It said a lot for us. That's what we try to do. We try to establish the run game and start there, and then when it's time to get in the pass game, we try to execute there too. But it always starts up front with the D-line, so we just try to execute every time.
A question about Juwan. What kind of skill, attribute, whatever, do you think makes him a good wide receiver?
I think that Jerwan Newton, outside of football, is an amazing human being, and I think when you're an amazing human being outside of football, I think that the game will reward you. Jerwan Newton does everything right. He's the first one in the building, the last one to leave, and he's got skills. I mean, he can throw the ball in his area, he's going to go catch it no matter what. If somebody's draping on his back, he's still going to go make the play, and that's just a comfortability thing for me too, knowing that I have a guy like that out there.
How often, I mean, like when a play breaks down and you just, I don't know, got to go off script or whatnot, how often do you want to know where he's at on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I think not just him, but knowing where everybody's at is crucial. And I will say I made a couple bonehead plays there today when I was running around, so that's something I definitely got to fix. But I mean, obviously, if I get outside the pocket, I'm looking for all of those guys.
Tucker, what can you say about just the pass protection today? I know against the pressure a couple weeks ago with the new line, it was up and down. But what can you say about the protection today?
Yeah, I thought it was great. They gave me time. I felt comfortable back there today. And even when they did pressure, it was still, I felt good back there. I knew that those 5 guys up front were going to be able to pick it up.
What did you think in the first half? I mean, you guys had a big lead, played well. But, I mean, you did have 2 interceptions. You had 4 fumbles, none of them were recovered by them. But just as dominant as it was, it could have been even better. Like, what did you think that said?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we got to clean up those mistakes. We got to finish drives better. We can't get down to the 1-yard line and then run 3 plays and get 0 yards and kick a field goal. Like, we got to be able to finish those drives, So just being able to, clean that up and, this offense is really good. And I don't think that we've seen the full potential of this offense yet.
Was there something about their red zone defense that you feel like did challenge you more today, or is it more?
I mean, those guys that they had in there are really good football players. They're really tough football players. So we knew that going into the game that it was going to be tough. If we said if we break a long play, if you can score it because it's going to be tough sledding if you get down there inside the 10, inside the 5.
Just curious, you took some big hits on some of your runs today. Any more sore than usual or not?
Nothing that's going to be any lingering. I mean, tomorrow I'll probably wake up a little sore, but that'd be all right.
How very consistently through the 5 games this year, you've thrown it to a ton of different receivers. Is that like an active thing that you try to do?
I mean, I try to throw it to the open guys,
Yeah.
you know, and we've played a lot of different guys, you know, some guys young, some guys old and experienced, and I'm just, you know, my job is to find the open receiver. You know, we'll scheme it up any way that we can, but, you know, if the guy's open, like, that's the guy I got to throw it to.
This was a very physical game, but you guys seemed to send a message on that final touchdown drive, just getting that run game going and just pounding it down the field. Was there talk before that drive, like, okay, like let's stop messing around, let's end this?
I mean, there was kind of that talk the whole game. Like, you know, in the first half, we stalled on a couple of drives, and that's what we came in at halftime and said, like, we got to be better finishing drives. So I just, you know, we knew, like, when we had the chance down there that we needed to finish it this time.
How big of a message do you think this was, just coming off a loss and then the bye week? You're playing the preseason favorite, obviously they beat last year. People think of you guys as the top 2 teams, and then to win in the fashion you won today. What's the message?
I mean, I think it's no different than any other game. You know, all these MAC games are the same. We play what, 8 MAC games? They're all going to be the same games. You know, you gotta win the games if you want to go to the conference championship. So I mean, it's just you know, 1-0 in the MAC, and now next week we got to go 1-0 in the MAC again.
I know you want to score a touchdown like every possession, but how nice is it to know you have a pretty solid kicker?
Yeah, I mean, that kid played amazing today. He made some really big time kicks. I know that, you know, if we get inside of their territory, like, you know, if we can get in 4th and short, you know, Coach Candle's a pretty aggressive play caller. We might go for it, but I think he knows that we have, you know, a solid kicker that's going to get us 3 points. So it's nice.
Similar to what I asked him, just what do you think makes you, what are you best at on the field as a wide receiver?
I try my best to make plays, but at the end of the day, it don't matter with the ball in my hands or not in my hands. I want to do my best to help out my team win the game.
How much? I mean, the last 3 years, I mean, you maybe have like the most touchdown receptions for someone who's played these last 3 years. I think you're like 24 or something like that now. I don't know. Like when you're inside the red zone, is there anything that you, I don't know, do to get open?
Nah, like I said, I just play my hardest and give my team all. And the ball come my way, I try to make the play.
I know you guys work, you know, kind of day by day, but just kind of to get on the right foot in the MAC, just kind of how much satisfaction do you draw from getting this win tonight?
You know, it always feels good to get a win, but you can never get complacent. Like, yeah, we start MAC play, we all happy. You know, everybody gonna go and enjoy their night and be happy about it tonight. But we know the following weeks, every team will want to come get after us. So we can't just be like, yeah, we got a good win against a good team and just let that be it. You know, we're gonna come in, watch the film tomorrow, and figure out ways to get better, because we had a lot of mistakes tonight. And only way for us to be at our best is to correct those mistakes.
Do you feel like those mistakes are more internal, or is it what Miami was showing? What do you think kind of led to that?
I feel like it's more internal. They're a good team, once again, but a lot of times we shoot ourselves in the foot. So we just got to get better at that.
I mean, through 5 games, how potent would you say the passing game is, just in terms of like Tucker's accuracy, decision making, and the amount of different guys who can catch the ball?
I feel like each game we're getting better and better. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do anyway. As the season goes on, you're supposed to get better. Our connections are building up stronger. He's gaining the trust in the receivers. I mean, I know you've seen he throw the ball up, and we're going to make plays week in, week out. I'm pretty sure that grows a good confidence in Tuck's mind. Like, man, if I got one with my receivers, I got to give them a shot. And as receivers in our room, our big thing is just making the play, because at the end of the day, you never know how many opportunities you're going to get. You know, so when the ball comes your way, just make the play on the ball.
We're really proud of our football team to get a conference win, open up conference play against a very good team. A team that, like I said, we're back here on Monday in this room that makes you earn everything that they give up, and you know, they're good defensively. They get good quarterback play, and they're really sound in the kicking game. So a lot of highlighted different things and different phases for us in the game. We got a block punt today. We got outstanding play from our field goal kicker. We got a recovered onside kick. So we're really pleased with our special teams. Defense did a really good job with some key moments of getting key stops early on in the football game, and offensively we were able to build a little bit of lead by some early efficient plays. Now we're going to be a little bit better in the red zone in my opinion and get touchdowns in those scenarios. But when you're finishing drives with points, that's a positive thing. So proud of our guys for playing all 60 minutes, hung in there, kept all 10 toes down for the entire game, which we asked them to do all week long, and beat a good team. So take care of this one tonight, prepare for Buffalo on the road next week. So I'm excited to take your questions.
What do you think of just the tone you set in the first quarter for this game, and then going forward, winning, beating Miami, being in control? What kind of tone does that set for these next 7 games?
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. I mean, momentum in football is absolutely huge, and to get the field position we were able to get early on in the game and to be able to capitalize on those drives, I thought that was massive. A couple of great individual plays by our guys and to get scores there. And then we figured it was going to be a nip and tuck thing the rest of the way, and it was. I mean, very similar to our game last year, the first one down there. You got, the question was asked, well, does Miami do anything on defense differently in the red zone? Yeah, they don't give up touchdowns. And last year when we played them in the first game, they had given up a red zone score in the entire season. So we were able to get a couple to get a good lead, and the same thing here. Able to hold on. You know what I mean? And like I said, I knew it was going to be a 60-minute game, so we're proud of our team from that standpoint. As big picture looks, I mean, they all count as one. You guys predict who you think is going to be the best team in the league early on in the summer. That's for you guys to handle. You pick them, and that rightfully so. They won the conference championship. We beat them. It doesn't mean we're number one and they stink. These are two really good football teams that have 7 more games in front of them, and we've got to turn the page and focus on Buffalo.
Statistically, it was a career night for Darius Alexander, but how does a performance like what you saw out there, just exactly who him to be?
Yeah, I mean, very impactful and very, at times disruptive and dominant. And, stats show that. But there's plenty of other plays there where there's havoc being created by him and others on the defensive front that are moving the quarterback out, and he's chucking the ball out of bounds due to having a hand in his face or getting flushed out of there. So Frank has done a great job with that group. They play a lot of guys. I think there's probably, I'll look at this number of reps tomorrow, there'll be 8 or 9 guys that significantly played reps and did a really, really good job. And when you can continue to roll guys in there and your unit doesn't take a step backwards, all that does is move the program forward. And, it's been fun to watch those guys' development. DA's been a leader in that part of it. And really, to be honest, if you're talking about DA, it's been just fun to watch his development, his growth. I mean, we're talking about a kid that played left tackle when he was a freshman that's probably going to be an NFL draft pick on the defensive line. So, a big-time game for him, a statement game, and, we're going to need him each and every week the rest of the way out for him to be at his best.
Jason, obviously Miami is so tough, so physical. Does that make it even more satisfying to maybe control the line of scrimmage against a team like that? Well,
I mean, I think that, our offensive line, is prideful and probably wasn't our best moments at Western Kentucky at the end of the game, and, they wanted to come out and play really good. And, you could look at rushing yards and say, well, man, you didn't run the ball for, great efficiency. Miami doesn't let you run the ball. There's an extra defender at the line of scrimmage the entire game. So they require you to pass the football and beat them that way, and they hope that you'll throw it to them a few times and you'll screw it up and turn it over, and your quarterback won't be able to do that effectively, and that creates inefficient offense. And you can see at times where we threw it effectively and we're in rhythm and completing passes. Some of those runs then started to pop out of there. So I thought a good game by our offensive line, some things that I'm sure I'm going to look at the tape and take back, and we got to continue to work on the the little things that are going to allow us to be a great 5-man unit the rest of the way, because you can't win football games in November unless you're really good on the line of scrimmage.
Even with an extra defender, how sweet was it to just see you guys line up, push him off the ball, and get that
I think
all
that
on the ground?
Yeah, that's Bax did a good job trying to 2, 3, 4, 5 yards, and then all of a sudden a couple of those pop, and next thing you know, you feel really good about where you are, and just constantly wearing, and it doesn't look the explosive runs that everybody wants. We're not getting them, you know what I mean? But the other team's defense are saying you're not going to get them by 1 or 2 extra guys in there at all times. So we got to balance that out by running the quarterback a little bit, which we've been able to do, and then we got to be able to throw it effectively, so we can, when we do run it, we can run to equal numbers.
Back to talking about setting the tone. You've owned the first quarter this season, or kind of the first half too. Is there anything to it? Is there an aggression or concerted effort in the beginning of these games, or has it just kind of worked out that way?
I mean, I don't know. We're sitting around for 2 weeks without a football game. If we can't be aggressive and start the football game after sitting around 2 weeks and watching everybody else play, my gosh. But it takes a good start, it takes consistent play throughout, and it takes a good finish. And if you have any holes anywhere through that plan, you're susceptible to getting beat in today's college football. That's just how it goes. And the casual fan sometimes doesn't always see that. Sometimes it's hard for 18 to 22-year-old people to understand that. As coaches, that's what keeps you up at night. You want consistent play for all 60 minutes, and if it's aided by a great start, even better.
I know you guys have been excited about Braden Knowles. Seems like we've heard his name even before this season. He's got, I think, 3 or 4 interceptions now. They've been pretty impactful plays as well. Just what do you think of what he's done and just kind of immediately with this playing time making a difference?
Yeah, I mean, he's consistent as the day is long. Prepares really hard. Again, I think I've said this before when asked about him. He's a product of great parenting first and foremost, and he's got a great relationship with his position coach. And when a guy is totally invested in football and will go above and beyond what is required, some guys can't wait till practice is over and they can't wait to get in the car and leave and go home. Other guys, they see practice as just a segment of their day of getting better as a football player. We've had lots of examples of that. We got Quinton Mitchell back in the stadium tonight. He was an example of that. He's one of the guys that has set the pace and set the tone for what our program is moving forward, especially in the defensive backfield. Max and Hook is right along in that world. And now you've watched the development of Emmanuel McNeil-Warren due to those guys. You watch the development of now Braden Knowles due to those guys of being clear examples. But the consistent guy in this whole thing is Ross Watson, his coach, his position coach, and what he requires of his guys. And no better picture of just somehow we keep putting out pro DBs. It's not by coincidence.
I asked these guys about Juwan. I mean, aside from just being good, whatever, how has he become this touchdown magnet the last 3 seasons now?
Well, I mean, I think that any quarterback that plays wants a security blanket and a level of comfort with somebody, or if possible, however many are out on the route. If you get 5 out on the route, you'd like to be like, hey, all 5 guys are going to be where I expect them to be. I can close my eyes and point them to where they're supposed to be once I know the playbook. Juwan's always been that, and he was back. You can go back quarterbacks, back. I mean, Juwan's been here a while. So he's had dealt with some injuries early in his career that probably prohibited some of this greatness that we're seeing early on. But man, oh man, he's just a consistent presence, and what quarterback wouldn't want that, right? And when you throw it to him, he catches it. That's just how it goes. And when that happens, there's confidence that gets built. That thing stacks on top of one another. And by the way, he's a really good athlete and a really good player. You know what I mean? Like we sometimes put the physical traits and the skill on the back burner because he's such a fantastic human being. No, this is equal parts here. This is the yin and the yang. This guy can play. So, man, oh man, we're gonna miss that guy when he's gone.
There was kind of a discussion sense of saying, oh, we'll see you guys again after the game. I feel like I heard that a couple times. Do you feel like you will see them again?
I mean, they're not on our schedule yet. No. So I don't know. We'll see. You got a long ways between now and then. We're going to go to Buffalo and play them next week.
You mentioned special.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
You mentioned special team. Just to have a guy who seems that he can put 3 points on the board whenever you need him to. Just how does that help you with play calling when you get plus?
Well, I mean, those are 2 long field goals today, right? He's a freshman. He's had some moments where he's been really good, and there's others that he hasn't been good. So improvement and consistent want to be good. I mean, I think that's all we're really, really looking for. And I don't know. I don't have a play on 4th and 11 from the whatever yard line. So we kick the 47-yard field goal, and he makes it. You know what I mean? So that's part of the game. You've got to be able to supplement your offense with that part of it. And he's done a good job. And we didn't go into the year wishing that Luke got hurt. My gosh, tough break for Luke. And Luke's an all-conference player, but some good player goes down. Somebody's got to step up, and this kid has been a bright spot since we lost Luke.
I know you touched on the turnovers. Obviously, they come in a win tonight, but just kind of anything that you noticed about the 2 picks today?
I didn't bring them up. You guys brought them up. I don't bring up the turnovers. I don't talk about the I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I think you heard Tuck say a couple of bonehead plays there, and he's going to be the first to own it. The one ball got tipped, and that takes away a red zone opportunity. It's probably 3 points for sure, and potentially a touchdown. The other one, you're rolling out to your right, you kind of throw back across your body. That's a cardinal sin here for us. That's a no-no. He understands that. He knows that. And, right after, my bad, my fault type of thing. No, but if the protection's better there, like you get into the what if game, right? Like the protection's better there. If it's where we need to be on the particular point of the route, does that come off the board? Probably, but that's college football, and you got to respond. And I think the thing I'm most proud of is our team's response to some of those low lights, some of those low moments in tonight's game.
How much, Tucker's thrown for a pretty high percentage this year. He's thrown a ton of touchdown passes. Some of the mistakes the last couple of weeks, like, do you think it's almost been like heat checks for himself, where it's like, hey, I've played really well. I think I can just complete anything.
I don't think he takes that mentality. And I don't think that, you say heat check. I think basketball. I think Steph Curry hits 6 threes in a row and he's going to throw up a 7th one. He don't throw the ball out of bounds. He throws it at the basket, right? So I think a quarterback that play like that into go out there with that mentality, we are going to be aggressive. We have to be. That's how we play. That's how we're going to continue to play. There are going to be some mistakes. We just got to limit them and do a good job making sure that we don't give the ball to the other team, and that disrupts our rhythm. And whether they're incomplete passes that are trying to squeeze a football in there, or not. And the ones that got completed, I don't hear anybody asking any questions about that. We complete them, Jerwan's the greatest receiver in the world, but if we don't complete them, Tucker's not good. That's just the bad path to go down, in my opinion. So I think that we play how we play. We're going to be aggressive, and we'll continue to improve as the rhythm continues to go. And I thought for the most part today in the first half, pretty good rhythm for having a week off.
Coach, want to make a final comment on the homecoming crowd today?
Yeah. Looks like we're over 25,000, which is a big time deal here. And, I think that I would say that I see the impact of the alumni being back. I see the impact of former players being around in the building. It's not just today. This is around Thursday or Friday. Like a lot of guys that, are notable people have come back and to be a part of our team, honored some of our great championship teams in the past. It's really hard for players to understand where you're trying to take the program and to where you want it to go if they don't understand where it's come from before them. So always a great opportunity to have them back. Love our fans, love our student section who's been excellent in all home games, and we're going to need that continued support as we get through this conference schedule.